Well, thanks, Kayla. Hello, welcome to Business Morning. Compliments of the season. We see 2024, the trading year, that's winding down. Hope you've been able to meet your profit targets this year and getting ready for 2025. What's going to be the trend for the equities market? We'll definitely find out. But let's discuss what shaped sentiment in the market. That'll be later on, and we'll get to the top stories that set your agenda. Starting now with oil prices are down in thin holiday trade ahead of the year end. As traders, they're awaiting more economic data from China and the U.S. Later this week to assess growth. The world's two largest oil consumers, and we see Brent crude $73.45 a barrel, down over 0.5%, 0.6% down this morning. But we see WTI, that's a U.S. grade, that's up above the psychological $70 level by about 52 cents a barrel, 0.8%, a bigger move down there for that contract. But the active March contracts, that's for WTI, was down about 6 cents. US WTI 8 cents down. Both contracts rose about 1.4% last week, buoyed by a larger than expected drawdown from US crude inventories in the week ended December 20th as refiners ramped up activity, and the holiday season that boosted fuel demand. So oil prices were also supported by optimism for Chinese economic growth next year. That could lift demand from top crude oil importing nation, which is China. All right, to the FX market now. I'll see the NAFEX rate that dipped by about 60 kobo, closing at 1,549 naira to the dollar, from a previous 1,548 naira. But we see moderate appreciation there. NFM window 1,538 naira, somewhat unchanged, to the positive side. Some, analysts saw bullish note driven by stronger demand for the dollar compared to the available supply. However, trading progressed at an increase in supply led to a slight appreciation there for the NFM. So we saw a switch there. It was a thin trading week. That's for last week with all of the holidays, and definitely everyone still have their eyes on just got back. So we see their dollars, flowing into the economy, and at some point they have to go back. But thankfully, they're not going to go back with all of that money. All right, as 2024 winds down, experts and economists are reviewing the outgoing year with an outlook for the Nigerian economy in 2025. The latest is from Dr. Muda Yusuf, Director, CEO, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise. Dr. Muda acknowledges that despite significant macroeconomic challenges in 2024, Nigeria's economy showed resilience with a projected GDP growth of around 3.6% by this year's end, aligning with the Sub-Saharan Africa forecast. The report highlights a concerning trend, though, that emerged as the financial sector's growth diverged from the real economy, showing a structural issue there. The dominance of the non-oil sector in GDP, yet we see its limited impact on foreign exchange earnings. That's further pointing to the need for greater productivity and competitiveness reforms. Regarding the foreign exchange market, the Nigeria's naira volatility moderated in the second half of 2024 thanks to regulatory interventions and improved reserves. The outlook for 2025 includes potential upside driven by a stronger foreign reserve position and improved forex inflows. Dr. Muda also forecasts inflation could slightly ease in 2025, driven by exchange rate stabilization and lower energy costs, though several inflationary pressures, including high energy costs and geopolitical factors, persist. But we're still expecting more forecasts for 2025 coming out from other economists. All right, to the entertainment industry now. The Nigerian box office reached a historic milestone, surpassing 1 billion naira in total earnings for the first time in a single week. From December 20th to December 26th, 2024, the box office generated an impressive 1.02 billion naira, marking a significant achievement for the nation's growing film industry on the global stage. The highlights of this achievement came, that was on Boxing Day, December 26th, when the box office set a new record with a remarkable 256.4 million naira in ticket sales, made its highest grossing single day in Nigerian cinema history, surpassing the previous record of about 89.8 million naira, and reflecting increasing demand for films during the festive season, and that's according to Nile Entertainment. When compared to previous years, this December set a new benchmark for the industry, making it the most profitable week on record. The surges in earnings underscores the growing popularity of both Nollywood and international films in Nigeria, with the success of newly released blockbusters and consistent enthusiasm of moviegoers celebrating the holiday season. We'll keep tracking that industry going forward. All right, now to our first conversation. The Nigerian fabric industry, that's a vibrant, dynamic sector that plays a significant role in the country's economy, with a rich cultural heritage and a strong demand for traditional and modern fabrics. The industry has attracted numerous retailers, wholesalers, and manufacturers. Now let's take a look at the current state of the fabric industry in Nigeria, its challenges, opportunities, and future prospects, with a seasoned fabric retailer. Her name is Samiat Nasir, who's the founder, Mayana Luxury Textiles, joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you. Compliments of the season.
What's she saying, Laddie?
Yes, and I guess I can say this is another one of those nice fabrics.
Oh, yes.
What you're actually wearing now. Yes. No fun here.
No, but it's a nice suiting you got there.
Thank you. So, quite an interesting industry, and I've noticed a trend. There's some particular fabrics I see in the market these days. They're all over social media. Everyone's wearing them. They're like tie and dye or something. They look really nice. The trends you're seeing, in Nigeria's fabric industry, from your perspective as a retailer.
Okay, Laddie. Africa is actually rich in culture, I must say. And the current trend that you're seeing all over the country, and even is born out of the need for people to actually reflect their cultural heritage. So permit me to say that currently our designers are even mixing the contemporary fashion into their clothing line, because you find out that most people want an affiliation with their roots, be it people that live in the country or Africans in the diaspora. So you would find out that you've probably been seeing Atiku, Ankara, Adire, and the likes, and even our native Ashoke, which goes back from way back. You'll see them being incorporated into the modern fashion. It's just amazing. And I feel like there's a whole lot of prospects in the fabric industry, if you ask me.
Right, and looking at most of these beautiful fabrics we see everywhere. Talk to me about how these trends are impacting your business.
Beautifully, we have that demand, I must say. With my little experience in business, I must say that people love quality fabrics. But it's just unfortunate that we're not producing as much as we should. So currently what is happening to business sellers is we have to import these fabrics from foreign countries, obviously. But the good news is we're still surviving. I mean, the country has affected us in partly due to the forex and devaluation of currency, but we're still surviving.
Because I can imagine, if we rewind to subsidies gone, walk us through how that impacted your business immediately. And, when we learned that all of those FX markets were, collapsed, and we saw the Naira plummet.
Yeah, so what majorly happens is reduction in purchasing power. Our purchasing power greatly reduced. But as a smart business owner, we have to continue business. So what we tend to do is we buy what we're able to, what our money can buy, and then we sell. But obviously it has impacted us. Our purchasing power is reduced. It's the same way our consumers' purchasing power is reduced. So the global economy, everything that is happening in the country has directly impacted our businesses, but we're thriving.
Importing most of these fabrics. Are you seeing any signs of some kind of resurrection, of production? Are you seeing that at all in any way?
Honestly, importing the rate at which we import fabrics in this industry, I don't think it's sustainable. History has it that we used to have a lot of factories producing textiles, but unfortunately, most of them they're no longer in existence. So, and even the few ones that are still in existence, quality is always the issue. Would have people walk into the store who wants to buy fabrics, but the first question they're asking us is, I'm sorry, are your fabrics sourced locally or internationally? And that's just born out of the fact that our people don't even trust the quality that we produce anymore. So I'm going to be taking you back to the root cause of all this issue. We don't even produce quality cotton. Our farmers can't even give manufacturers quality cotton fabrics, quality cotton, right, from farming. I mean, so we need like a total overall. I feel like we should start with quality assurance and probably a government intervention across the value chain in the fabric industry.
Yeah, that's definitely needed because it's quite incredible that with our rich, history, with fabrics, we're actually resorting to importing, that is quite sad because I see all of these beautiful fabrics and I'm like, wow, I think are we back, at this time? But it seems it's all about imports again. So talk to me about demand. What kind of fabrics are in high demand right now?
Okay, so our people love fabrics that are of good quality. I always emphasize on quality. Quality, soft fabrics that is conducive with our environment, with our temperature, right? They don't want anything too thick, but people love quality, affordability, and things that are exclusive, that are not everywhere.
How would you describe the market? Because I see all over social media there are a lot of fabric sellers. So in my mind, I'm thinking this market seems kind of saturated. But how do you see it?
Well, I don't see fabric market as saturated,
Okay.
to be honest, because everybody has their niche, right? But it's just beautiful to see how booming, how have been. But unfortunately, we do not even have the raw materials right here. What you're seeing is even very little compared to what you should be seeing if we were not even reliant on importing these fabrics. Because what we do is we have to import directly from manufacturers. But I'm saying, imagine a scenario where we have quality cotton from our farms, and then we have manufacturers who have everything they need regarding infrastructure. I'm talking about good electricity so they can have manufacturing and production running, and an enabling environment, an environment that would let the business run easily. Talking about government intervention as per funding, loans, credit facilities to our farmers. The value chain would have that quality assurance that I talked about, right from the production process, which means from the cotton farming. And then we're transferring that same quality assurance to the manufacturer, because the manufacturers do not have too much overhead, so to say, right? And then down to the retailers and then to the end consumers. You can imagine how booming that the industry would actually be. What you're seeing is very little compared to what could have been.
And I can imagine, the amount of exports, we could gain from that.
Oh, yes. I was actually going there because export is one thing that would increase the economy's GDP. But unfortunately, we don't have that. So I see potentials if we have all of these things that I talked about, from cotton production to manufacturing, down to producing really good quality that our people will be comfortable with. The first stage is people accepting their culture. A lot of people love to be, irrespective of wherever they are, they love to be affiliated with their roots, with their culture, with that Africanism. It makes them, more comfortable. we've had people come into the store and tell us that they don't like shopping anymore in so places because they feel like it's boring, But with the African touch, it spices things up for them and it gets them excited. So meaning there's already acceptance, right? And we have the demand.
And talking about demand, how would you describe demand in 2024 and, this season with the I Just Got Backs?
Oh, okay. 2024 and the I Just Got Backs, right? It's been amazing, I must say. It has been amazing. Irrespective of how 2024 has been, with the December hustle and bustle, it's been thriving.
Because it seems there were a lot of parties.
Oh, yes, there was.
In 2024.
There was.
With the parties, there's demand for fabrics.
Demand has always been good. We have the numbers. And you can now imagine taking it outside the country, talking about exports. You can imagine how amazing. So what you're saying all over social media is little compared to where we could actually be. I wish people could see the potential if we were not self-reliant on importation like we currently are. Because importation has all of its good and its bad, Talk about forex, talk about delays with cargo, But imagine a country where we have some of these things. We know that we will still need importation, right? But we're saying if currently we're importing, say, 90% of the fabrics, if we can move it down to maybe depend on what we produce locally, it will boost our economy as well.
Give me a quick rundown of clearing most of these goods at the ports. You did mention delays.
Oh yes, I mean a whole lot happens in the process of transferring goods from foreign countries to our country. So we can experience delays. It could be from the airlines, it could be from the local airports, it could be from anywhere,
But what about the ports? How are the ports looking?
We all know how it is. If we're even to talk about machineries, importing machineries, we will even talk about what's it called? The duties that we have to pay. It is really ridiculous, I must say.
And that's why we see most of these prices competing.
Exactly.
With foreign clothes.
With foreign markets, exactly.
Right, and we see the tailors now charging so much.
So high, yeah.
Just to make.
But we can't really blame them, right? Because if business owners were to open up to you and tell you their experiences, you would understand that it's not as easy as people think it is. There's a whole getting your goods, turning it into finished products. There's a whole lot of unseen things that happens that we have to suffer and we don't even talk about. It almost
seems like they're competing, that's price-wise, the ready-made clothes are competing with the
foreign market.
Yeah, so those foreign big names.
Yeah, so we wouldn't even have to do that if we had some raw materials here. Quality, emphasis is on quality, because people want quality. Right. In as much as they want to be affiliated with the African touch, African print, they still want quality.
They want that quality. Fantastic. It was great having this conversation with you. Semiat Nasir is the founder, Miana Luxury Textiles. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Ladi.
Thank you. All right, I guess it's safe to say the equities market should end 2024 above the 100,000 level. That's the all-share index with just one more trading day in 2024. That's tomorrow. But let's get a sense of what shaped trading in 2024 and what's to expect in 2025. So you make all of that profit that you like to make. Let's talk to Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed now, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Compliments of the season.
Thank you, lad. The compliment of the season. You really look good.
You look great yourself. I wanted to say, I'm sure 2024 has been quite kind, to you. But, talk to me about, what shaped Nigeria's equities market, in 2024, keeping us above that 100,000 level for the all-share index.
Well, lad, what shaped Nigerian market in 2024 was the financial sector. You saw those huge interim dividend payout that they did, and that was a major catalyst of 2024, because again, when you look at them, they're paying above what we normally would have seen at the end of the year. They were paying it as interim dividend, and that also came as a result of their right issue or public offer. That was for me was a big game changer. But in 2024, and that means that going forward, there will be a lot of big movement in terms of payment of dividend and price appreciation. You've seen that in the Nigerian equity market this year. Also, what has kept us there, you saw the listing of top company, Arada, especially in the petroleum sector. We saw the movement of Owando from a low of about 8 naira to a high of about 63 naira. So we've seen the oil and gas sector, the financial sector, even the insurance sectors was not left out, especially in the area of capital appreciation to some of those stocks despite the volatility. We've seen high price in insurance stock like Crusader Insurance. We are now seeing name insurance also crossing the 10 naira mark. We see Mansab Insurance also hitting about 8 naira. So those are the all-time high numbers. But when you look at the low key point in the Nigerian capital market for 2024, you can't but look at the conglomerate sector, the manufacturing sector, the telecom sector, and you and I know what has really brought this sector low. It is as a result of the high exchange rate, the instability in the exchange rate. It has impacted on their price, negative shareholding for MTN, for Nestle Nigeria, for Unilever. These are Nigerian Brewery, Guinness Nigerian PLC. We saw a lot of those companies suffering in 2024 because of the most of federal government policy, especially the instability in the exchange. So you can say 2024 have been missed. If you are in the banking sector, it has been one of the best times as an investor. If you're in the oil and gas sector, you've seen movement, you've seen an oil stock like Saplat being the highest, the most expensive stock in the Nigerian equity market. If you're in the insurance sector, you've been a trader in that space. You've seen some stock give you about 200 to 350%. But if you're in the conglomerate sector, the MTN, the Unilevers, the Nestle's, you've seen your investment come down. So it was a mixed feeling depending on which side you are in 2024.
So definitely, it all depends on where you are. But looking at the all-share index, year-to-date performance, you juxtapose that with inflation numbers. How would you say the equities market is performing against inflation?
Larry, the equity market has been one of the positivity in this administration. If you want to talk about, what have we achieved economically in 2024, I think they will not look no other place than the equity market to tell people that, look, we've seen that market drive since President Tinubu came to power. They beat inflation. If you look at the Asia index, growth of about 34%, you could say it's equal to inflation. And like I said, that also depends on the equity that you have. Some equity did not beat inflation, but looking at the all-share index entirely, you say averagely, you're looking at to calculate the average return you have gotten in the market, 34%. That is huge, and that is the one area. And this is outside dividend payment that you've seen in some of these equities. So definitely, the key economy driver of 2024, that one of the success story for me is the equity market. And you've seen that we've hit that 100,000 mark, and from you realize that definitely we may end that this year on that 100,000 mark, and then we could see a lot of things happening in 2025 to that 100,000 mark.
And they say the stock markets is the barometer of the economy. Would you say that's the case for Nigeria?
No, laddie, it's not the case for Nigeria because most of the high, what do we call, most of these companies that really drive the Nigerian economy, not over 60% market, and that is one. Then you ask yourself how many Nigerians are really playing the equity market. So when you look at that, what you see in the equity market, you can't say is the key barometer. You could say it's one of the success story of the Nigerian economy, but you can't say it's the key driver of the Nigerian economy because a lot of the key movers of the Nigerian economy are not even listed yet in the equity market.
All right, let's get your crystal ball now. Going into 2025, what do you see for the Nigeria stock market?
Larry, 2025 is going to be very interesting for the Nigerian stock market. We are going to see the banking stock list some of their rights. We are beginning to see them from the 6th of January to the 6th of January. We will see FCMB Group listing its offer. We are also going to see also coming Access Bank also. And let's not forget that they have met their 500 million capital base. We are going to see Zenith Bank come with their report. We're going to see GTB comes to. So definitely what we'll see in 2025, we are going to see liquidity in terms of equity in the banking sector, and how that would play in terms of dividend payout and capital appreciation will be will depend on a lot of factors. For the bank, most of the funds that they are having is going to be used for expansion. Most of them are the holding company looking at various other places to invest to expand their growth. Some of them are going to go foreign, some of them are going to go global, and most of them are going to go African, expand the African base, acquire some, and that has already been done by Access. That's why people like me think Access Bank still remain one of the cheapest banks in Nigeria. The banks are awash with a lot of liquidity, so we might not see that affecting the in terms of dividend payout, because you also know that some of these banks really didn't need to go to the market, but the CBN insists that they didn't want them to use their retained earnings. So that retained earnings is still very, very liquid for payment of dividend to shareholders. So that will not be a problem. One sector we need to look at it will be the oil and gas sector coming this year. We are going to see a lot of positivity in that sector because of the kind of policy that is driving that sector. That's why in the area of divestment, where a lot of Nigerian companies are beginning to acquire assets of these multinationals. So we expect that to play out in stocks like Seplat, also like Arade, and also Owando. You remember that is a stock that have been in the cooler for a while. Finally, a lot of things seems to be looking good for Owando, especially after their AGM. Yes, we expect that the conglomerate, like the Unilever, the Nestle, they will begin to have a little bit of stability in their price, because we are like that report you said from this Muda Lawal that said that we might begin to see some stability in the exchange. I think I ascribe to that also. So that also will drive this industry. Also, Nigerian Brewery, Guinness Nigeria, we expect them to come to profitability. MTN, the telecom sector, I think that will be one of the most successful story come 2025. We have already seen that playing out already. Hopefully, we'll see that play out in a big in a larger term
Right.
going forward, because we expect that the NCC will approve the tariff increment, and that will affect the bottom line. So a lot of positivity to look towards in 2025, especially inflation. Figures we expect it to go down, and we expect the market to beat inflation. And lastly, before we end, one thing we are waiting for is that this 2025 we are very optimistic that they will be the hawkish nature of the CBN will come down to benefit will be the equity market.
Right, very interesting, and I hope when the Central Bank of Nigeria turns dovish, the whole world doesn't turn hawkish, like it's already tending towards. We're seeing the U.S. Fed saying maybe just 2 rate cuts in 2025 instead of the 4 that was expected. But I guess we'll look out for all of that. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Compliments of the season.
Thank you, Larry. Compliment of the season.
All right, so yeah, the markets are open out. We'll get the final trade. That's tomorrow. Final trade of 2024. We'll definitely be covering that live on Business Incorporated. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. I hand things over now to the Sunrise Daily team.